Greetings. We are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and we have found more on a book which sheds new light on a 137-year-old Bible mystery. We covered in our previous videos uploaded a Bible before the Bible. This is a Jewish journal, and it's dated at Friday, March the 4th, 2022. So it's pretty new. And it speaks of the lost book of Moses and a certain person's hunt for the world's oldest Bible. The lost book of Moses is a book about a man rather than a manuscript. Well, we believe that through our videos and through the translator Victor Nimrod Alexander, a native-born Aramaic-speaking Mesopotamian from Bet Naharain, or Aramaic speaker from Bet Naharain, Mesopotamia, Syria, has already revealed that, right? Just people aren't aware of it, or aren't paying attention, or ignoring that completely. As we stated, we bring it extensively through our channel, the Ministry of the Real Truth. It reads, for several years, author Chanan Tagay, which we already covered in the other video, sought to find the oldest Bible in the world. His quest spanned 8 countries and 4 continents, and he ended up writing a book about it, The Lost Book of Moses, The Hunt for the World's Oldest Bible. First published in 2016, the book tells the story of Moses Shapira of Jerusalem, who in 1883 told the British Museum that he had found a historic version of the book of Deuteronomy and requested a historic sum for it, £1 million British pounds. After an expert declared the object a fake, Shapira committed suicide around about 1884 later. 6 decades later, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were unearthed, they showed eerie similarities to descriptions of Shapira's artifact, but the artifact itself had vanished. Yeah, because he was saying it was found by Bedouins in the Qumran region, and it was stolen off of them and given to him, and then the guy disappeared, and he couldn't really translate or anything. It was a script unknown to him, right? And all this, and then years after his death, around about 1849 or 1949, these Dead Sea Scrolls were actually found, and they said, hey, this is like scrolls before the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, a Bible before the Bible, sort of thing. Maybe they weren't fake. Maybe his Dead Sea Scroll or manuscripts or whatever he'd found were actually real. Yeah, first published in 2016, the book tells the story of Moses Shapira of Jerusalem, who in 1883 told the British Museum that he had found a historic version of the book of Deuteronomy and requested a historic sum for it. After an expert declared the object a fake, Shapira committed suicide. 6 decades later, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were unearthed, probably 1947, something like that, they showed eerie similarities to descriptions of Shapira's artifact, but the artifact itself had vanished. Born in Israel, raised in suburban Philadelphia, I guess that's in the USA, and now a professor at San Francisco State University, Tagay is spending this academic year as a visiting fellow at the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study at Harvard. In his office, he spoke with the Jewish Journal about his book, and that's the website we're on. Tagay said he wanted to make the Lost Book of Moses a mystery accessible to everyone. On the other hand, he also wanted people who were experts in this field to read the book and feel he got everything right, he said. His father, Jeffrey Tagay, is a rabbi and Bible scholar who taught at the University of Pennsylvania in the US for over 40 years, and his longest work thus far is a 600-page commentary on the book of Deuteronomy that took 16 years to write. Wow, that's a long time to write one book. Visiting his father for a Friday night dinner, the subject returned to Deuteronomy. Chanan Tagay was working on several stories about biblical frauds, including the purported discovery of Noah's Ark by Turks on Mount Ararat. This prompted Jeffrey Tagay to bring up what is called the original biblical hoax, Moses Shapira. So is that to do with the what's that guy, Ron Wyatt? discovery of the Ark on Mount Ararat, because they say he was a fraudster, a hoaxer, etc. Shapira was born Jewish in Kamienic Podolsky, and there's a bit of history on it, right? Converting to Christianity along the way. In 1883, Shapira visited the British Museum with what he called the oldest biblical manuscript ever discovered, a very strange version of the book of Deuteronomy, Tagay said, adding Shapira was asking for $1 million, that's 1 million UK pounds, for the document, an utterly astounding sum, which equals 250 million today. Tagay said that the manuscript was perhaps as old as the Mesha stele, a Moabite stone, because this guy Shapira got flack over his Moabite idol, or his Moabite text, or whatever it was. The Mesha stele, a Moabite stone monument discovered in 1868 in present-day Jordan, which dated to the 9th century BCE. He added that some speculated that Shapira's find was the original Deuteronomy written by Moses himself. That's how old people thought it could have been. Not everyone agreed, of course. It would have been the oldest biblical manuscript ever discovered, older by centuries. For verification, the museum hired Bible scholar Christian David Ginsburg, who declared the manuscript a fake, a fraud. Tagay said, 6 months later, in March 1884, Shapira committed suicide with a pistol in the Rotterdam hotel. People thought that was the story's end, Tagay said. In 1947, here we go, however, the newly found Dead Sea Scrolls paralleled Shapira's account of his manuscript. They too had been discovered by a Bedouin in a cave near the Dead Sea, full of variant readings of the traditional text. Okay. Not only that, Shapira's manuscript was a book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy was the second most numerous of the biblical books discovered in the scrolls. Some biblical scholars in the mid-20th century recalled Shapira's story and wondered whether, in fact, he discovered the first Dead Sea Scroll decades before the rest, Tagay said. Yet this object had mysteriously disappeared. They all doubted him because later on somebody found, probably at the museum, in storage or something like that, the manuscripts in some sort of Torah leather cover or something that he'd sliced up, and that's why they believed he'd faked it. But they say, well, maybe he cut those bits off because of the rotting leather. Okay, all covered in the other videos that we did, Bible before the Bible. Okay, so some biblical scholars in the mid-20th century recalled Shapira's story and wondered whether, in fact, he discovered the first Dead Sea Scroll decades before the rest. Tagay said, yet this object had mysteriously disappeared. He said, after he heard about it, this is Tagay, from his father, he decided that he needed to start looking to try to prove whether or not it was real or fake. His travels covered Israel, Jordan, the Netherlands, France, Germany, Australia, Britain and the US. He hiked into the Jordanian gorge of Wadi Mujib to test the idea whether a leather manuscript could have survived, but he ended up getting soaked in a flash flood. In Jerusalem, Tagay visited the home Shapira lived in after becoming wealthy and went to the Christian church where Shapira worshipped, married and baptized his 2 daughters. In the US, Tagay made one final stop at the Adolph Sutro Library at San Francisco State and found what he called the most important discovery of the entire journey. 8 days before the book was due, he had to rewrite the entire ending. So how does the story end? He's not giving anything away, Tagay said, and he thinks it holds interest whether it's real or fake. Okay, so you can probably find it online. We tried and we just kept getting a citation. And the other PDF that was free, it says, well, it's free, but you have to sign up to our website first. So keep looking, see if we can actually find it so you can read it. We actually found another called the Vindication of Moses. We might cover that.